Hi, geography students. We're continuing on with Southwest Asia and talking about the importance of natural resources. Now, it doesn't matter which area or location that we're in the world. Natural resources are always going to be a vital part of the country, of the area, of the region because they provide so much revenue, so much ability, as far as for their economy, for transportation, whatever it might be. So, when we talk about natural resources in Southwest Asia, we're really looking at the two primary ones, and those are oil and water. And that's kind of interesting because oil and water don't mix. Oil is the most abundant resource in the Persian Gulf region. About half of the world's oil is in this tiny little area. You see this cartoon here, and he's feeding oil, a bowl of oil, to the car. The automobile industry relies so heavily on petroleum, on oil, but we know that it can't last forever. Petroleum is from fossil fuels. It's petrified. It's old from dead plants and animals, and it can't last forever. So we're gonna watch a little video to see like where the exports are, where how much production they have, and if there's a lot in reserve. And there's a lot of important uh, advances being made in technology. Can we produce cars that use less oil? Can we produce cars that use no oil or gas, like electric cars? But the other really important resource to the area is water. Because they have so many oil reserves, it actually means that they don't have a lot of water in areas of the Southwest Asia. Some places can be rather fertile, especially places where we talk about like the Tigris and Euphrates, but some places are very dry and water must be conserved. So, economically, though, oil is definitely the most important source of income for many Southwest Asian nations. Wars have been fought over oil. If you've ever heard of Saddam Hussein, he invaded this little tiny country of Kuwait in order to get the oil that they had. The United States came to the aid. Maybe it shouldn't have, but we also wanted to secure that oil. Again, later, the United States entered into another Persian Gulf War. And so this is a really, really important and strategically important resource. OPEC is what controls the world's oil supply. OPEC is a huge group, a huge conglomeration of oil producing countries. The United States is not in OPEC, and OPEC would like to do pretty much whatever it can do to keep the United States, because the United States is a huge producer of oil, especially like right now in North Dakota. We have really upped between North Dakota and Alaska, areas in Texas. We have really increased the production of oil in the United States, but OPEC nations really don't want that because the United States has always got so many natural resources, and it seems to other countries like they shouldn't have this one more. So we're gonna watch this video quick. I'm gonna watch it with you. It's only a couple of minutes long, and we'll talk about some of the
I
things that
see a
I want
future
you to get
where
out of
there's no
it.
pollution. Since the mid-19th century, oil has fueled the industrial revolutions and economic developments of nearly every country on Earth. This slowly dwindling resource has also contributed to some of the worst wars in modern history and earns its suppliers billions upon billions of dollars each year. When it comes to international power, control over oil can be just as important as military or diplomatic strength. But the overwhelming majority of the world's oil is held by only a small handful of people. So just who exactly controls the world's oil? Well, in terms of output, the top 3 oil-producing countries are the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Russia. In 2014, the United States produced about 14 million barrels of oil a day, with the Saudis and Russians trailing right behind. But while the U.S. is the largest producer, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia stands as the world's largest exporter. Most of Asia relies on Saudi oil. Meanwhile, Europe relies on Russia, which provided nearly a third of the continent's oil and natural gas in 2014. But while these three countries contribute the most oil, they don't actually control it. Just 12 countries, primarily in the Middle East, North Africa, and South America, hold about 80% of the world's oil. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, is the most powerful oil group on Earth and directly competes with the United States, Russia, and Canada for oil supremacy. OPEC is headed by Saudi Arabia, which alone holds the second largest oil reserves. Oil is a useful diplomatic tool as well as an economic and political weapon. In 1973, American involvement in Egypt and Syria's war against Israel led OPEC to instigate an embargo against the United States and its allies. What became known as the '73 oil crisis had devastating consequences for the global economy. Petroleum prices skyrocketed, leading to gas shortages across America and Europe. Additionally, numerous wars since the 1930s have been described as oil wars, with countries initiating conflicts with oil-rich nations in order to take control of that resource. In particular, the 2003 illegal invasion of Iraq, led by the Bush administration, has been considered to be a prime example of this type of conflict. Multiple military leaders and even the former Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel have since revealed that oil control was a dominating factor in the decision to invade. In fact, a study found that countries with aggressive leaders and large oil reserves are 2.5 times more likely to see military conflict. Oil has made its producers a whole lot of money, while threatening to destabilize the rest of the world. Although OPEC does seek balance among its members, it is also inherently opposed to United States oil, leading to further conflict and power struggles. One can only hope that renewable energy eventually takes this volatile resource off the bargaining table entirely. While many countries and entities are competing to have the most oil, as we mentioned, the resource is slowly dwindling. How much oil do we actually have left? Find out in this video.
Proven reserves simply means that there is a 90% chance of the oil being extracted, and we know it's there. Unproven generally means that we believe it's there, but for a number of reasons can't extract it with certainty. Generally, oil estimates focus on proven reserves.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to TestTube News so that you can keep up with all our new videos every day.
Okay, so I think you kind of get the idea, and there were a lot of terms in there that I want you to think about and focus on. So here's what I would like you to do. I think you are familiar with, let me get over to it. I think you're familiar with the CIA World Factbook. We've worked with it quite a few different times now. So what I'd like you to do is choose any 5 countries. So choose 5 countries in Southwest Asia that we've begun to talk about. Any 5 nations that you want, doesn't matter where they are. I put up here Turkey. So, you know, Turkey is in Southwest Asia technically. It's kind of that borderland between Europe and Asia. So we would choose Turkey. So select a country to view. And when you see Turkey here, I want you to scroll down to energy. And now you're looking at 5 different countries. So you're going to go to 5 different ones. And when you go to the energy area, I want you to look at their crude oil production. When they produce 55,000 BBL/day, that stands for barrels per day. So Turkey produces 55,000 barrels per day. You can even see you could click on this. They do a little country comparison. So they rank 51, which means there's 50 other countries who produce more oil than Turkey does. They have, let's see, proven reserves. They're proven reserves. And remember what he had said about proven reserves. That means they're pretty sure it's there. And if they need to get to it, they could, which means their reserves are 341.6 million barrels. That is also ranked 51. In addition to that, and I'll show you right here, I want you to do their exports. So exports, they don't export any oil, 0 barrels per day. They are way, way down on that list. So here's what I want you to do. After you choose these 5 countries and look up this information, you can do it on an Excel spreadsheet. If you're really good at Excel, I very much encourage you to do it this way. I want you to find the country. their production, and remember, so their production is going to be in barrels per day, their exports, and their reserves. So, and you're probably going to need to have like a range. So, you'll get your 5 countries. You'll figure out what their productions are, and when you show it, I would show it in like a graph, like it's called a histogram. I would say, from whatever the lowest end is to whatever the highest end is, I would show me a range. So if production ranges from, let's say, 27,000 barrels per day to 390,000 barrels per day or whatever, that's where your range is going to be. But that's going to be probably a different range than your exports. Okay. So I want you to kind of chart all of these out for me. And you're going to, as I said, choose 5 countries using the CIA World Factbook. Go to energy. And I have this all written out for you. Go to energy and look at their production, their crude oil production. That's what we call petroleum. Their crude oil exports and their crude oil proved reserves. And chart that information out. And it'll be really interesting to look at each individual country, kind of where they rank and where in whichever of the 5 countries you choose. So if you have any questions, of course, let me know. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.